America, and welcome to Invent America, because America invents.
This episode of Invent America TV is brought to you by America's Inventor Lady and Home Talk USA. Home Talk is a proud member of the King's Broadcasting Network and has been bringing to you the best of America's home-based product innovation since 1998. This segment of Invent America TV is brought to you by the law offices of R.P. Baraska. RPB law offices have been bringing corporate-level legal expertise to the independent inventor community for more than 20 years. For all your inventing legal needs, trust rpblawoffices.com.
Welcome back. That's right. This is the Invent America show on Invent America Radio. I'm the Cajun contractor Michael King, along with my sidekick, the ever so knowledgeable, the inventor lady herself, Miss Rita Crompton. We are streaming live on the World Wide Web all across the nation. And I want to welcome all of you, all our audience from the Home Talk show. This is part of Home Talk. Invent America is part of the family. And don't forget, at the top of the next hour, we're going to have the Made America show, which is also part of the Home Talk USA radio family. It's just trying to put all the subject matter specifically to one topic instead of spanning it over 3 hours for a different audience. And so I'm glad I can clear that up. But hey, welcome all of you. And now I'd like to welcome the inventor lady herself, Miss Rita Crompton. Miss Rita, hello, welcome.
Hey there, how are you?
All right, we're doing good. We're still on the air. They haven't thrown us off yet, so we must be doing something right. I mean,
that's a good sign for sure.
We're now celebrating our 1,185 episodes and counting. So we've already made radio history. So we're all this is lagniappe. You know, down in Louisiana, we have a term called lagniappe, which basically means something extra. So we're giving everybody something extra, huh, Rita?
That's right, absolutely.
So what's on the agenda today? I know you've got a lot coming off the ASD Market Week, and which was a success. We talked about that last week, but tell us a little bit about our show today. What you got lined up for us?
Well, a lot of inventors really need the help. And so we're talking about, what do you have to do to get teed up for licensing? Some people don't even know what that is. All right. They come up with an idea and think that, they have to be a startup. They have to, go out and, try to get a grant. They have to try to go and get investors. And it's like the worst thing you can do is try to get a grant or chase the money. We call it, when you start chasing the money, you're just going down a rat hole. So we're talking about, what is the option? What is the viable option? And for some folks, that option is the way they get to see their product on a store shelf. That's the way they get to, get a check where they can put money into the bank account, as opposed to, going and taking money out of the bank and mortgaging the house and selling their favorite car. I had an inventor do that, years ago. Had a Corvette, sold the Corvette, put them all the money into, getting his product out there to the marketplace, and ended up as a very young man being in an accident that killed him. And it was just, oh, shoot. So, that's just, there's a lot that goes into this to get it teed up. But when they really get ready to go to market, what are their best options?
Well, yeah, that is the end result. That's, that's like I say, going down the yellow brick road and trying to get to the wizard. You know what I mean? So I had to throw in my son loves the Wizard of Oz, so I had to throw that in there a little bit. But that's what we're talking about. But it's difficult to get to that stage, and there's certain things you have to do to get to that stage. But I know I'm going to bring this back, and I know I keep harping on this, but license agreement or manufacturing itself, and when you should license it and when you should just go ahead and produce it and distribute yourself. And it's the key. And what my feeling is this. I think if you're a one-trick pony, you need a license. You might even want to license a two-trick pony. But at the end of the day, unless you have a multi-products to distribute, a licensing deal is where you need to go, because the cost of just trying to get one product to market is just like you said, let's just get a check. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's nearly impossible for an independent inventor, even if they've got multiple products.
Yeah.
When they're on a fast track and they're solving problems, um, generally, if they're good at solving problems, they're really not good at manufacturing, and they're certainly not good at business. And oh, hey, marketing is a whole different animal. And so, if they don't have leverage to get that product into the marketplace, they're always going to be chasing around.
Yeah.
And so, what we want to do is we want to see products get to the marketplace the fastest. And the best way to not get your product infringed on is to make sure that you can make it at a price that is good for the consumer and get it out there. And so for so many inventors, they're teeing it up and they're one step at a time and everything, and they're getting out. The next thing they know, it's being knocked off a dozen different places, and they don't have the money to chase it. A licensee is the one that takes on that burden of chasing an infringer. And I've seen it multiple times. We had a product that Danko licensed years ago for the Home Depot, and Walmart knocked it off. Yep. And before the ink was dry on the contract, Danko went after them and got the product pulled because Danko had much deeper pockets than the inventor did.
Yep.
And that product is still being sold after 15 years in all the Home Depots and Lowe's in North America. But they watch it. And a licensee is generally the one that goes after the infringer. They already know what to do when they see it happen. And for the inventor, it's like, they just don't have deep enough pockets to chase it.
Yeah, you made a good point there, but again, trying to get it to the market, the stages that you need to get to that level, from the licensee aspect, again, that's the way to go. I mean, that's at the end of, because again, this can bankrupt you. You might not even. But the point I'm trying to say is that. Yesterday, this might have been the technology of the future or the technology of the day. And then tomorrow, yesterday's news because technology is going so quick, so fast.
It does. It goes so fast. The average shelf life of a product is 7 years. Well, if it takes you 10 to get it teed up and out there, you lose.
Yeah.
So it's always time. And I've said this for multiple reasons. Time is not the inventor's friend. All right. One, you can't invent more time. Two, somebody else is always chasing you down, down the path to beat you to the finish line. And so, it's like, how do you do this? And so really understanding the steps and, somebody will tell me, it's like, well, I know the manager of the Walmart at, our local store. Good luck for you because they don't make the decisions on the products that are going to go in. Well, I'm going to sell on Amazon. Nope, probably not. Unless you know one of the top 50 sellers on Amazon and you get them to carry your product, it's not like you can post it and they will come. Nobody knows you're there. How do you sell it? Oh, hey, that's a whole new, mortgage on the house, learning how to market your product. And so for a lot of inventors, it's like you've got a really good idea. We see a lot of wow products out there. But without the licensing from a company that's got the leverage to get it out there, my industry expert is Mike Ryan. That's one of his favorite words is, where's the leverage? And, if you've got to have somebody that's got the leverage or you will always be chasing the dollar.
Yeah. And that's so important. I want to get into AI now. I got to do this now because I think my audience needs to know, my manufacturers need to know, and the young entrepreneurs need to know. AI can be your best friend or your worst enemy.
Oh, yeah.
Depending if you can afford it.
AI
you understand?
Is simply a tool, like a hammer. And if you don't pay attention, that hammer is going to beat you on the head because we have seen more ways that's the topic of our meeting coming up on Thursday night for the Inventors Roundtable is artificial intelligence. And if you are not careful, artificial intelligence is only as smart as the person using it. And we have seen so many times when it's been wrong. And if you go out there with that, you're wrong. You're wrong.
The companies that can afford to get that information, because that's what AI does. It gets you the information to make your company better or get you the information to develop. You might as well use that technology. But the point is, for the young guy that might not have that AI pocketbook, then it goes back to the licensing situation that might be affordable to do that. Because if you don't have that information and can compile that information, and continue to compile it. And that's what AI does. It can get you that information.
Well,
That's so important. Yeah.
We've learned that
Yeah.
AI will actually give you the answer you want, not
Yeah.
necessarily the truth.
The truth.
AI
Yeah.
is just a tool, and it's
Yeah.
only as good as the person putting in the questions. So,
Yeah. That's right.
we'll do a show on that coming up in the next couple
Yeah.
of weeks, because AI can be really damaging.
Yeah. And
People don't realize. They think intelligence is intelligence. No, there's nothing
All right,
intelligent
Rita,
about
I just got
artificial
cued.
intelligence.
The
It's
producer's
artificial.
having a heart
I
attack.
know.
We have to pay some bills. He's getting nervous over there. He wants to make sure he gets a paycheck. So, hey, we're going to take a short break. This is the Invent America show here on Invent America Radio on the King's Broadcasting Network. I'm the Cajun contractor, Michael King, along with the inventor lady, Rita Crompton. We're going to be right back. Yeah, y'all come back now. You hear?
This segment of Invent America TV is brought to you by SearchQuest Patent Search. SearchQuest provides for a comprehensive patent search that searches the entire world and not just the U.S. Patent Office. Make sure that before you spend those big bucks having a patent written, you've done your due diligence by getting a comprehensive patent search. Use SearchQuestPatents.com for all your patent search needs. They scour the world for you.
Welcome back. This is the Invent America show on Invent America Radio on the King's Broadcasting Network. I'm the Cajun contractor, Michael King. I want to welcome all of you again. Having a great conversation here. But again, I want to put a big shout out to that real powerful station, our sister station, our home station, WGCH 1490 AM, and all of our radio affiliates all across the nation. We are a terrestrial radio network podcast. And it shocks everybody, Rita. We're actually live on radio. You know what I mean? We actually have radio stations that carry it. But we're so excited. We're actually celebrating our 1,185 episode on the air, 29 years of doing this. And, Rita, it never gets it never gets old because we always got great guests come on that kind of re-energizes us, of the technology of the future.
So my inventor with me right now is Keith Knight, and Keith invented Retract-a-Lock. Keith, Tell everybody, thank you for being with us, and tell everybody, what is that?
Okay, the Retract-a-Lock is a retractable cable lock. It has 12 feet of cable in it, and you can either mount it to your side bracket on your ladder rack to lock down your ladders. And it not only locks the ladders, it also ratchets up to hold the ladders in place. So,
all right. So it secures a ladder to then a position so that you can transport it.
Yes. Yeah. It'll mount to any of the ladder rack brackets that are on the market. So you can just literally bolt it to your side bracket, wrap it around your ladders, and then lock it in, and then actually ratchet it up, and it'll not only lock the ladders, it'll hold them in place.
All right, so it's different than the ratchet straps that are out there. How is it different than the bungee cord and the ratchet strap? Besides the fact that the bungee cord can kill you, hey.
Well, yeah, it's a flexible cable. And what it does is by ratcheting it up, of course, it holds it in place. You could also mount it in the bed of your truck to lock up your bicycle or lock up your pressure cleaner or anything like that. Then when you're done with it, you unlock it, it retracts back into the unit, and it's always there ready to be used again.
Oh, you mean it's not in a bag all bundled up and all, twisted and turned and big knots tied so that, you got to spend an hour unraveling it before you can even use it?
Not at all. See, that's what's nice about it is it's always there. If you have it in the bed of your truck to lock up, any tools, you don't have to find your lock and find your chain or find your cable and wrap it around. It's always right there. You just pull it out, run it through whatever you want to lock up, and lock it into the unit.
Wonderful. So you're the inventor. How long have you been going through this process, and where are you in the process?
I've had this patent for just about 20 years. And it's just been sitting on my workbench. I haven't done anything with it. So I decided to see if I could find someone that would be interested in it.
So when prototypes, have you sold any?
No. I have not manufactured it. I do have all the CAD drawings to tool up for all the plastic parts, but no, I'm not manufacturing it.
So why has it been sitting around?
I just haven't done anything with it. You know, I started looking for someone to take it on, and I guess I got sidetracked, and it sat on my workbench for years.
What made you come up with it all those years ago?
I'm a retired fire lieutenant, and we always have second jobs. My second job, I had a commercial painting company. So I had 20 guys that worked for me, and I had a couple trucks and work vans. And it was, I needed something to lock up my ladders on my trucks. So that's where I came up with the design.
So were you using it roughly then, yourself with some basic, me do my own self, as my grandson would always say, prototypes?
Yeah, no, I mean, I had prototypes to show people, working prototypes, but they're made out of molding plastic. So you have to be very careful with them.
Oh,
So
honey, everybody starts out with, Legos and, their own version of something made out of pipe cleaners and Play-Doh. So the fact that you had something that you could actually use, good for you.
Yeah.
So I've seen inventors do, the wildest proof of concept prototypes. But getting it out of your head is an important step. You've got to see if you can use it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the prototype that I had, I did mount it in my truck and use it, but just you have to be very careful because it's just molding plastic. So
sure.
it'll break very, very easily.
Hey, getting it out of your head and something that you can use, everybody's got to be careful with those first prototypes. That is why when I've asked people, it's like, so how many prototypes, have you gone through? And it's like, my garage is a museum and my wife wants to kill me.
Right.
Version, because you've got so many different generations of making it better.
Yes. I did go through quite a few prototypes until I came up with the final design. I actually, with my engineer, I'm the one that found a problem that we had with the lock, that I came up with the design to fix that. So
it's not unusual that as you're going through those stages of prototypes, and that's why we look at the proof of concept prototype. So you're proving your idea works, and then the manufacturer's version of a prototype for the manufacturing phase can be very, very same outcome of what they're doing, but it's still going to look and be different when you're trying to manufacture it. So we're going to see what we can do to help you, Keith. Thank you for being on with us today. We have got to go and take a break, pay some bills, and a big shout out and thanks to King Broadcasting Network for allowing us to do Invent America, Made in America, and Home Talk USA. We will be right back.
If you're an inventor or you know an inventor out there who would just like to be able to have a conversation with other inventors, join the Inventors Roundtable. It's free. The meetings are virtual, so you can be anywhere in America and talk to another inventor. And for a lot of folks out there, understanding the process, being able to ask questions, getting good service provider information is critical to the inventing process. So, got questions? Want to join? It's free. inventorsroundtable.org.
And thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America, because you know it, America invents. Been doing it for hundreds of years, and we will continue to do it for 100 more. And my guest for this segment is Eric Sachs. Eric is the inventor of Pushmate. Eric, thank you so much for being with us for this segment, and tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
The first thing people notice about me is I'm abnormally tall. I'm 6'6". So when I walk in a room, everyone notices. I'm a veteran, scuba diver, love Star Wars, love animals. I rescued parrots for 30 years. So I've got about 8 parrots that people didn't want back, and it gets crazy sometimes.
It was really funny as you were talking about all those things. It's like, yep, I can see you walking into a room. All right, so Pushmate, how did you come up with, what is it and how did you come up with it? Tell us the story.
Okay, so Pushmate is basically it's a small platform that attaches to the back of pushable devices such as wheelchairs, strollers, shopping carts, wagons, things like that. Then the caregiver, parent, sibling, spouse, whatever, they stand on it, or they could sit on the optional seat, and it pushes the wheelchair for them. And the beauty of it is that it doesn't interfere with the natural steering of the device. So you would steer the device just like you normally would. It's basically like pushing a stroller around or a wheelchair. You just push it normally. It doesn't require any modification to the wheelchair or stroller or other push device, and it doesn't change how it handles. It just makes the job easier because you don't have to walk anymore and you don't have to push. Sorry, go ahead.
You caught my attention when we had our first conversations because my brother-in-law has been in a wheelchair for 12 years now. Went from a limp to a wheelchair in about 6 months with MS and the really aggressive form. And so my sister, who is 5'1" on a good day, has been, pushing him around, and he's got an electric one, but still, when they go someplace frequently, they are in the push one. And, yeah, he can do the wheels, but darn, would life be easier with a Pushmate.
Exactly. And even with his power chair, his wife still has to walk alongside him, So if he goes for a 10-mile ride, she's walking 10 miles, unless she gets her own power chair, which would be kind of cool. But this way you get a ride together. It creates a bonding experience as well. So it's kind of nice.
So how long have you been working on this, and how'd you come up with this? I mean, this is not something normal in everyday thinking about wheelchairs and strollers.
No, and see, most people invent things that have a connection to themselves. But me, what happened was I was at Disney World in Orlando, and we were sitting down to eat, and I watched this woman. She was walking by, and she was just struggling with one of those double wheelchairs, or I'm sorry, double strollers. So it originally came up for strollers, but she was just struggling. And I could tell that Disney World was no longer the happiest place on earth for her because she was just at the end of her, it was horrible. And I didn't do anything about it, or, it's kind of kicked around in the back of my mind. But a few months ago, my niece was diagnosed with POTS, where if she stands up, her heart rate increases and she gets nauseous, dizzy, and sometimes passes out. It's pretty debilitating. And she was a really active kid. And so now her parents have to push in a wheelchair a lot of places, and it gets tiring. Her parents are getting older. She's a teenager. And I'm like, well, wouldn't it be nice if she had one of these? So I started with a proof of concept, like you were talking about. It's ugly, garage built. There's a little wooden beast. It cost me like $13, and that was just for the wheels. And I just used pieces of scrap. It just basically proved that the concept worked, and it worked fantastic. My wife, I love her to death, but she has no coordination, no balance. But she's able to hop on this thing, and all I said was just push the stroller normally, and she drove it around our front room without hitting anything, which was awesome. So I built a powered version with a little chopped up kids scooter. Had a max rating of like 150 pounds, but I'm 250 pounds. My wife's about 125. So it was pushing almost 400 pounds and had no problem. And so now I built version 3.0 with a much better motor. And if it would stop raining, I could go get some video.
There you go. Oh, shoot. So what's next? What is your goal with this? Doing some manufacturing, getting it out there. What's next?
Well, so manufacturing is very expensive, as of course I mean, I would need like 200,000 just to even start, just to do a small run. So that wasn't really my goal. My goal ultimately is to find someone that already manufactures mobility equipment, wheelchairs, strollers. I mean, it's a simple concept, it's a simple idea, but I think it can make a big difference for caregivers who push wheelchairs or strollers, especially for long distances, aging spouses, things like that. I've had some interest from several people in the mobility space. So now it's just about finding the right partners. So if anyone in the mobility or stroller industry is listening and wants to learn more, I'd love to talk. But licensing is where it's at. You guys have been talking about it, and it's definitely the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I've learned over the years is that a lot of times the company that you think is the most obvious for licensing is the last one that wants it. And part of that is because they're looking at, how it's competing against their current lineup that they've already put a lot of money in. And sometimes it's really a matter of seeing they don't want something that's going to compete against themselves. So frequently the companies that end up licensing it are the ones that want to compete against those companies. So we always take a look at, what makes the most sense for a product. One of the things that we've also learned is that if you license to one, then they're not selling it to everybody. They're just selling it to their own one, which is still okay. But you make more money when you license it to somebody that's selling to everyone. And
True.
so things we've learned.
But you're skipping a step, though. The hardest part is getting past all the gatekeepers.
Oh,
As
yeah.
an independent inventor, I can't just call Graco and say, hey, let me talk to your chief R&D person, So there's all these people. I mean, I'm sure they get pitched thousands of things a day. And so the last thing you want to do is listen to another one. So trying to get through those gatekeepers. So it's very important to have someone in your corner that can help you. And that's what I'm still searching for.
I totally understand, because that is one of the things that we have had to overcome, and as a licensing agent for a lot of inventors, learning the door to knock on, the trade show to go to, where do you show off for your product? And because those people are at those shows, they're standing there having coffee, visiting, they go play golf, whatever, in the afternoon. So then that's what they're there to do, is to go shopping. Whereas you're right, on their regular daily routine, they've got lots of gatekeepers keeping that phone under control. And the last thing they want to do is, talk then, because they already met a dozen folks out at, the last trade show they went to. So
Exactly.
That is why I introduce people like you to my next guest coming up, Mike Ryan, because he is, I guess, in a way, the gatekeeper for Pronto Launch. I get to be the talent scout. And you, my friend, are the talent. So we're going to be introducing you to Mike Ryan, and it's fun to be able to do that kind of on the radio. And so I've already sent him your YouTube that you had sent to me, and so that he's already seen it. And it's for a lot of inventors, this step where you're trying to meet people is hard, because they don't wear, they're not, tattooed on their forehead looking for products that you don't know. And a lot of times you're right, they don't really want to. They're looking, but they don't want to say, hey, I'm your guy.
Or they may not be looking at all, and you may not realize that it's something that would be helpful to them. So
Exactly. So we're going to be looking at Pronto Launch and seeing what kind of advice. And even if they don't say, yeah, this is one for us, they can say a lot of times, this is who you talk to. And so we've got an indoor for someone to go and talk to. And that's one of the big things that, Mike and I talk about on a regular basis is, where do inventors get the leverage for a particular industry?
And that's the thing. I mean, I'm not an engineer by any stretch of the imagination. So building this thing in 3 different ones has been very, very difficult for me. But the hardest challenge is what we just talked about, trying to find the right person.
Absolutely. Well, Eric, thank you so much for being on with us. We're going to see what we can do for you. And we're going to go pay some bills right now. Got to pay those sponsors. So stick with us, everybody. We will be back in just a few minutes with my industry expert, Mike Ryan with Pronto Launch.
Introducing the amazing new Snoozle. It sprays faster, lasts longer. Ask for Snoozle by name.
And thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America, because America invents. And my guest for this segment is Mike Ryan, and he is an expert at helping inventors leverage their product and get them into the marketplace faster and with a bigger presence than any other option. Mike, thanks so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America.
Thank you for having me.
So the question then, with both of the inventors I had on today, is what do they need to have in place that gives them that opportunity to license their intellectual property?
Well, first of all, your previous 2 guests, what they're sharing is not, it's not out of the ordinary. It's been a problem for many years, and which is why Pronto Launch exists. As most people know, if you Google it, you'll see 97% of new inventors come out on the market. They they struggle to the point where either they go out of business or they just don't go anywhere. So the bottom line is that what Pronto-Launch is looking to do is change the market. These guys, the inventors, like your previous guests, they've been told this company can do this company can do this. Then 99% of the time they don't do what they say they're going to do. So they get frustrated. And next thing you know, Pronto-Launch comes in there and say, we can do this, or say, wait, I heard this before. The difference between Pronto-Launch and these other companies is that, first of all, leverage. Anybody who knows me knows my favorite word is leverage. All right. We have 28 divisions. We help sell at market, ship at warehouse, or fulfill orders. Michael King mentioned earlier about AI. He's absolutely right. AI, there's somebody, just like pills. Pills are good, but if you take too many pills, it's bad for you, or the wrong pills, it's bad for you. AI is good, but if you know how to use it, you can leverage it to be very successful. I've learned, I've become self-anointed AI expert. So I know how to utilize it and leverage it, not only for my companies, for the companies that are working with us. It's known that I probably work 78 hours a week, but through AI, it's equivalent to me working about 120 hours a week. It become more efficient. But the bottom line is that it allows Pronto-Launch to focus on, people who are people want help, but they can allow us to help them. So unfortunately, one of the biggest problems is that inventors get so frustrated, they almost have like a defeatist attitude. But I can't help them unless they let me help them. And I've heard people say to me, well, I've heard this before, but there's a difference between how many other companies do business and then how Pronto-Launch does it. All right, we essentially bring everything in-house. We help sell it, market, ship it, warehouse it, process the orders, the whole 9 yards. We do things that, best of my understanding, that no other company in our space does.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I've worked with inventors over the years in helping them understand the multiple of 5, the pricing. The consumer is pretty much in control of what they're going to be willing to pay for a product. So if you're not in that sweet spot, it doesn't matter how cool it is, they're not going to go to the checkout stand. And so if it's a $25 product, they've got to be able to make it, package it, insure it, and get it to the States for 5. Well, it's like, wait a minute, what do you mean? How does that break down? Well, if the store or the retailer is going to sell it for 25, that means then they bought it for $12.50, and that some distributor then bought it for $6.25, and that means that every item that, it's got to be less than $5 to get it all here so you're ready to sell it, and you actually make $1.25 per item. And with that, then you've got to pay all your attorney costs, all your salesman's costs, all your marketing costs, all your product liability insurance. And for most inventors, that budget line is a deal breaker. And they don't really understand that it's not on Mount Rushmore, but it could be.
It's tough. It's not just one factor. Michael King mentioned earlier, so many companies they have come up with one product and they're perceived as a one line item company. One line item companies, they're a major disadvantage. With Pronto-Launch, we can go to a company, whether it's in a medical field, whether it's in the toll industry, whatever it is. We have 5 or 6 products in that specific industry. So whenever a distributor or wholesaler wants to be part of us, they know they're getting multiple companies that they can work with, not just one. In addition to that is that, companies, we work under what we call the 4X factor, 4X, 5X, 6X. So if you buy a product for $10, if you can't sell it for $40, $50, $60, you have no chance of being successful. And then on top of that is that it's a catch-22. You need to get it at that lower price, but at the same time, you have to have the volume to be able to buy it in large quantities to get it at that lower price. So with Pronto-Launch is that we have the ability through our distribution network, our wholesale network. We mentioned Amazon before. Everyone thinks they can take a product and put it on Amazon. We work with one of our largest sellers one of the top 30 largest sellers on Amazon is a client of ours. They sell one of our other products. So there's so many different factors involved in it. But what we do is that we leverage our resources, our contacts. People think leverage is just on sales. It's leveraging your contacts, whether it's in a distribution field, whether it's in a wholesale field, whether it's in the fulfillment, warehouse, social, customer service across the board. We have literally, as I mentioned earlier, 28 divisions. We utilize every single one of those divisions that are each self-sufficient, each profitable. They work together and come together. We could take products like your previous guests and others to areas that they normally can't do on their own.
Yeah. So it's I could have you on every week and never run out of stuff to talk about, but we are going to go ahead and have to wrap this one up. Thanks everyone for joining us today. We will be back next week with more stories on getting products from mind to market. We will have new inventors and industry experts. So join us and have a wonderful week.